Hello, today I have a message called Your Willingness to Accept Substitute Imaginings. So let's see what we have here. Starting with be willing to see what is actually here instead of what you imagine is here. So anytime I don't feel good, I'm imagining hard and I'm insisting hard. I'm really believing that the unreal is real. Let's see if there's anything else to say there. I feel like this is at the edge of what I would allow, so I might have to pause a little more often and reach in, because I am also in the middle of encountering a really, vicious, awful layer of the ego, and stuff buried that you didn't know was there. I don't want to leave us stuck in a trajectory where we find layer after layer after layer, because that's a trap all its own. But I will be honest in saying this is the experience I'm having. It's like there's a time of relative peace and stability and expansion, and then it seems I run into this layer I never would have wanted to admit to before, like the heaviness of it. And I know I have to encounter it to acknowledge it and let it go. So that's been my experience. I don't want to get any of us caught in a trajectory where this is all we do is layer after layer. So I don't want to make an orthodoxy out of it. But I will acknowledge, like, this, I am in the middle of encountering one of these and working my way through it, trying to face it as much as I can and acknowledge it and let it go. So that's another reason I might be pausing a little more to reach in and look past this false thing. I still think it's important to hold in front of truth, or hold in front of love, and it's a good thing to be able to acknowledge, like, I actively seek to block love. I actively seek to block truth. Or the illusion of me does, and I can watch that play out because I can feel it. I can feel it. So the whole key is in letting go of the blocking, and it's always about me, never about someone else, because that's our point of perception. That's our point of experience. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else here. Be willing to see what is actually here instead of what you imagine is here. And that's a big one, because all of perception is imagined. And so it seems we initially imagined something impossible, and the way through and out of it is to, first of all, admit that, and second of all, accept a substitute for what we have imagined, not knowing what it's going to be, not having it be ego dictated. I would accept a substitute for what I've imagined, because the ego is dissatisfied with what I have imagined. So the ego is going to make a demand for something. It says it's better, and I'll accept that as substitute. No, it's more like I have no idea what I'm accepting as substitute, except I know it comes from the stability that I am and that you are, and where that stability is the same stability. And it's that willingness to accept that substitute that expands and expands, and then seems to hit an iron layer of something, like something I vowed I'd never let go of, right? Then I have to kind of ride that wave and let that layer melt, and then let the light burst through that layer. And as I do that, I see more clearly and more obvious, and you, of course, you are the light. Of course, you're not your surface. So that's how that's going. Okay, you can't imagine anything that will give you true happiness, but you can allow yourself to be gifted with imaginings transparent enough to allow you to see and remember the happiness you all are. So nothing of time or space is the cause of my happiness. That doesn't leave anyone out, because no one is of time or space. Everyone is prior to time and space, and we're all connected by the happiness we are. So nothing of time and space can give me or you the happiness we always are, always have been, always will be, and that happiness is connected as one So nothing of time and space can give us what we already have. But we can allow a gift here, and that means our flawed imaginings can be removed on the basis of loss of peace. They cause us loss of peace, and we can be given imaginings transparent enough, and then we can see and remember the happiness all of us are. That connectedness becomes obvious. What we already have, that happiness being ours already, instead of being caused by a facet of time or space that we label to be good enough, to have anything disturbing leached from it. It's got to be this special brand of thing to make the to make the ego happy. Behind all that is what we are, and nothing can ever change that. Nothing can ever touch or alter that. So it's really the unalterable that is our happiness and makes us happy. And the change in perception that happens is we allow the substitute imagining to be given to us. It might only be a very subtle difference that what we are and the happiness we've already had, we still have, we still are. That is given a chance to become obvious. So it's much less about what seems to be happening or not happening in time and space than it is about allowing the illusion of time and space to become very transparent, and to allow its meaninglessness to become obvious, to allow it to become obvious that it can't make anyone happy and it can't make anyone sad. Or maybe it's like a pretending to be sad. It's if sadness is not possible. I think this is a tangent I'm not supposed to go on, but I'll go on it for a moment. If sadness is not possible, then we're experiencing the illusion of sadness. Okay. And there's something in us that does want to remember, that does want to get back to the heart of it. So always remember your willingness to accept substitute imaginings. So when I think of willingness, I think of the light at the heart of us, and I see all these rays extending from it, and I see the edges of these rays kind of expanding and contracting a little, and I have the sense that it's extended out from this little spark out into this, it's getting bigger, kind of, I don't know, medium-sized glowing ball, and it's just waiting for permission to extend beyond its current boundary. And then if it encounters another layer, it's just waiting to be given permission to extend beyond its current boundary. But the more I experience this in me, then I'm automatically going to see it in you, and I'm going to see it in every other. There aren't any exceptions. So I can't have any special poster children that I would not want to grant this to. Anyone I would look across the world at and see, there can't be anybody who doesn't have this very same expanding light within them. So that's kind of the condition of being aware of and experiencing this light, and being aware of and experiencing its expansion. And, I didn't know I was going to say this. Okay. Obviously I'm judging it because I had to stop and try to judge it. All right. If I think I'm just over here by myself, allowing the expansion of light without being aware, okay, that makes sense, without being aware that it's also expanding in you, and I can clearly see it in you, then I'm under the influence of yet another illusion. It can be a very tricky illusion, like I'm enlightened and you're not. But I can only tell you how I'm experiencing it right now. I'm not going to claim to be right. Let's say I could be totally wrong about what I'm saying, and you can correct me tomorrow about it. let's go on that basis. I'm not going to pretend to tell the truth, because I don't know if I know everyone has it, but I don't know for sure if I'm speaking it. I can tell you what I'm receiving. So the big change for us this time around is that it's becoming very obvious that in order to allow the light to expand in myself, I must see it within you and allow it to expand in my sight. I have to give what I receive. That's really important. And not try to hold it just here. If I try to hold it just here, then I can build up a whole big illusion, even in industry or business, or not that, like, if you have a business around this stuff, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a distortion in my mind that I would feel. I would feel it. So if you're completely at peace, well, then I guess quickly share it with all of us, because you can. But if you're at peace, you're at peace. You don't need to be worried about things that are not worrisome to you. But this expansion of the light, this sharing of it, and the seeing of it, and the willingness to see it everywhere, that feels very important. And I feel like in experiences we might label as the past, or even past lives, it would be this desire to hold on to it and make it just yours, and then maybe just distribute it according to your desire. You could come to me as a disciple, or you could come to me and pay for my services, and I'll give you a slice of what I believe I have and others don't have. It's more like, in order to have it, you have to see it in everyone else. You have to see it was always, like, you would laugh, it was always there. How funny. And I've been projecting this fear cloud on you instead. So if I'm deceived thinking I've been seeing anything other than a fear cloud on top of the light that's already there in you, then I'm dealing with yet another illusion. It has to be over there in everyone I call else, without exception, for it to be here and expanding in me. Okay, hope some of that gobbledygook was clear. I feel like I'm in this sort of tough layer, so yeah, it doesn't feel like it's super smooth for me over here, but what's coming through is helpful. Okay, your safety and that of all is always behind the screen on which you project. So if I'm trying to get a sense of safety from a configuration of things in time and space, I'm barking up the wrong tree. So what I'm learning is to tune into the safety that has nothing to do with time and space, because it's prior to that, and to learn to rest in it. And to learn, it's really distracting when I look at you, though, because there are so many time and space elements to you. I might start judging them positively and negatively. But what I'm supposed to do, instead of looking at any positive or negative fear cloud, I would project on you. That's all my doing. And then get distracted with, it's very distracting, to look at the safety you are, and the safety you have to share. You have this abundant resource that you can share. It's behind the screen upon which I would project the fear that shows up as especially positive and especially negative. Especially positive would say, this world you built is sufficient. It's, the attractiveness of people, or the talents, and all of that can be used. Every element we use to keep us trapped in this world, thinking it's attractive and useful and good. This world of our fearful imaginings, that's not the real world. Every element we used can be used by Spirit to guide us through and out of it. So I'm never supposed to turn against an imaginary element of the world. I'm just supposed to give it to Spirit. Whatever I'm perceiving, this is for you to use, this is for you to use, this is for you to use. Talent, physical appearance, wealth, whatever it is, whoever it seems to belong to, give it to Spirit and say, use the whole illusion. Give me the substitute imagining. And in order to do that, in order to focus, I'm going to need to feel safe and trusting. And if I learn that my safety is behind the screen upon which I project positive and negative things, and I learn to tune into that power, that shared power we all have, we can't exclude one of us from that power. Let's say there's one person who seems to be especially crazy and unstable, and you would think you wouldn't want to empower that one at all. But of course you would, because power, actual power, is very calming and very loving. So why wouldn't you want to instantly remind them of the deep calm that they are? Why wouldn't you want to instantly remind them of how much they love everyone they're calling other? Of course you would if you could, and we all can. But our light right now it's expanded, but it's kind of resting at a border, kind of going a little further, sinking a little further in, out in a little bit, right? Kind of like you see a star twinkling. And I think it's about to expand more. And these things I talk about, as it expands more and we all share that, it'll get easier to understand and to say, yes, of course. Like it'll be like I'm saying, the grass is green, the sky is blue, the sidewalk's hard, everything I say will be like, why are you even saying it? I won't need to say it anymore. It'll be completely obvious. So this is about allowing the obvious to expand and become obvious, and therefore accessible to all of us. And just a reminder that when this is coming through, I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about. I mean, I kind of do. And then I go back and I listen later. And the lesson is definitely for me. Okay. And if it can reach somebody else, that's good. But it's for me. This is just the way it happens. Okay. Your safety is not dependent upon the behavior of others. Yeah, behavior is something that the ego can pick up and analyze, and it can approve of the behavior or it can disapprove of the behavior. But behavior is an illusion that we can give to spirit. And behavior is a perception. I perceive the one I call myself, and I mistake myself for a body behaving, right? That's a perception. And I perceive the one I call you, and I mistake you for a body. And how do I know I've made a mistake? I don't feel good. I feel tense. I feel insecure. I feel like controlling, anything that doesn't feel ultimately peaceful. And so that behavior is also a perception. So all perception I can give to spirit, to the power we share, to what we are together, and say, use this perception in the service of leaving what I made up and returning all of us to the full awareness of what we never left. Where we truly are, we never left. And this is a time of allowing ourselves to be returned to the full awareness of what and where we never left. Okay, so if therefore I look out onto the world stage and the ego sponsors a feeling of I feel unsafe, I think there's something unstable in the world. Well, naturally, because I made the world to be unstable, of course it would reflect that back to me. And any I can say I made the world, because the world of our fearful imaginings was made by one I. But it seems that little pieces of ourselves can wake up and help us return to the remembrance of who and what we are together. And so as we wake up, we share that awakening. And I don't know if there's much more I can say about that right now. But the sharing is really important. As we wake up, we share, and we see it everywhere. We don't want to forget that piece. I feel like if I had past lives, which in a sense I recognize I don't, because I don't even have this one, But just using that metaphor, that would be the piece I really got wrong before. And now this is my chance to like, oh, I finally get this lesson. Okay. That you want to share every bit of what you seem to get. You want to share it. Okay. So imperfectly, I think I got across some of what I'm seeing today, and it's probably enough. So wishing you well today, and happy healing.